Day 2 of Anime New York City, and Yen On announced a couple of licenses, so 3 brand new light novels, as well as 3 new light novel series that are coming out in audiobook format. Let's get into them and talk a bit about these. I'll quickly talk about the 3 audiobooks first, because these are existing series that have been out for some time that pretty much most of you should be familiar with. First off, they're doing audiobooks of the Bungo Stray Dogs novels, which, as far as I understand it, are kind of side stories to the main series. It seems really weird that they're not even doing a main story as an audiobook series, but I don't know. I know that Bungo Stray Dogs is a pretty popular series with a lot of different projects ongoing. Are some of you familiar with the novels? Like, do they stand on their own, or is this purely like a, if you know, you know, and that's the only people who are gonna buy this thing? Next up, they announced that the series Bakano is going to be getting the audiobook treatment, which, you know, is kind of strange to me. I mean, this of course is the author of Ra, which I think is maybe a little better known. But I know this series, like, it kind of has different appeals, and it crosses like multiple timelines with a lot of interweaving stories and characters that come and go. And so, I mean, it kind of, to me, might appeal to an audience that's actually like not regularly a light novel audience in terms of an audiobook audience. So I guess this one kind of makes sense in that context. And then finally, they announced that Reign of the Seven Spellblades is getting an audiobook adaptation. I guess not too surprising, seeing as how this one just completed its anime season. I mean, I know the books are fairly well regarded, and again, might appeal to a slightly wider audience. You know, once people kind of get the vibe that it's a very twisted and dark magical school with stories of revenge and, well, a whole bunch of other craziness that goes on. So I can kind of see this one getting a bit of a wider appeal. Now, all of these audiobooks, they haven't announced, at least not in the press release that I was sent, they haven't announced who is narrating them, but they have all stated that they have a May 2024 release date. Next up, let's get to the actual light novel licenses. First up, I'm going to start off with the most light novel of the bunch, which is Guillotine Bride. I mean, like, look at that cover. Like, tell me that doesn't scream, I'm a light novel. Renee has been sentenced to death. That's where the Dragon Princess's story should have ended. Instead, she's blown out of the sky en route to her execution and winds up in front of Ryunosuke. The young boy has no time to be shocked by this wild development because the dragon girl needs him to lend her a hand. In marriage. For the sake of the world, Ryunosuke has to marry Renee and smother her with love, because if he fails to keep her in check, the entire human race will probably go extinct. Like, that's a lot of pressure in a marriage, my guy. I mean, it's pressure to make marriage work on a good day, but like, make your marriage work or else end the entire species? Like, damn. Next up, they announced The God of Nishi Yuigahama Station. Now, I believe this one is a Japanese novel. I've looked up the author, and I don't recognize any of their other works, so I don't know if this is one of their first ones that's getting translated into English, or whether I'm just missing something. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below. The author is Takeshi Murase, but like I said, when I did a quick Google search, I couldn't find anything that I was familiar with of him other than that. On the first day of spring, a train derails, causing numerous deaths. 2 months later, rumors spread of a ghost at Nishi Yuigahama Station with the power to send others back in time to the day of the terrible accident. The story attracts a woman who lost her fiancé, a man who lost his father, and a boy who lost his unrequited love. A chance to go back to see those dear to them seems almost good to be true. What will they do now that they have it? I think this one sounds pretty cool. Like I said, definitely more of a novel, like not just in the fact that it's a one-off, but just in terms of the themes and stuff. Carrying on, I would say what we're seeing with a number of the companies that are doing English adaptations, that they seem to be picking up novels that at least have those elements of like the supernatural to them, just to give them that little bit of extra flair. But I think this one sounds like it could be kind of cool. And then finally, they announced Brunhild the Dragon Slayer. Eden, a place of perfection. A place where man and beast live side by side in harmony. Eden's protector, the Silver Dragon, regularly visits retribution upon those who would bring harm to paradise. But when the dragon discovers a human girl on the shores of Eden, he decides to raise her as his own. He teaches her that if she is to be welcomed into God's kingdom after death, she must not harbor hatred in her heart. But when the dragon's life is mercilessly snuffed out by human machinations, the girl must choose whether to heed the dragon's dying wish and stay the course of righteousness, or walk a path of vengeance. Now, I don't want to gloat or anything, but I'm going to gloat because I like it when I'm right. But if you recall, like not too long ago, J-Novel Club had that announcement that they were doing light novels in French and German. And one of the titles that they licensed was this book. And I said at the time, I was like, I guarantee you that in the next like month or two, we're probably going to see Yen On announce licensing this book. In fact, I haven't gone back to check, but I might have even said, I bet you they announce it at AnimeNYC City. If I did, I am like next level, like in tune with these companies. And I'm going to take full credit for it, even though pretty much anybody who's followed this industry for even a year probably would have been able to make that call. But hey, I like being right. It doesn't happen very often. I'm taking the W, okay? I'm sorry, but that's what I'm doing today. Now, this one, I have to say, sounds kind of cool to me. I do enjoy the fact that it is interweaving other like mythologies and fables. I did actually see a translator online that I follow on Twitter. They don't work on this book, but they said that this book, they're like the first volume is absolutely amazing and should be read by as many people as possible. And when I looked into this series when J-Novel Club licensed it, it kind of sounds as if it has, I think, 3 volumes, and it sounds as though each volume actually follows different characters. Obviously I was doing machine translation, so I can't be 100% certain, but it sounded kind of like each book might be a different sort of generation, or, you know, like it's somewhat tied together, but it's different. And so each character, and there's different situations. So, yeah, I would say probably of all the light novels announced this weekend so far, this is probably the one that I'm most interested in checking out. Not just because, you know, people give it props online, but just because it does sound like a sort of more harder fantasy. And as I said, I'm kind of curious to see how a Japanese author makes use of these other fables from other parts of the world. Yeah, I'm very curious to check this one out. Plus, I just think the cover looks pretty awesome too. So that's it for Yen On as far as light novels go. They did announce a couple of other manga titles, and admittedly, some of them may be of interest to light novel fans because they are somewhat tied in there. But I'll let you guys look those ones up. There, I guarantee you, everybody's already posted all sorts of news about which manga Yen On picked up. I find it very interesting knowing that Yen On and J-Novel Club have the same parent company. I find it very interesting to see now how their licenses kind of work with each other. And it almost feels like they let J-Novel Club license just about anything, and in particular, probably the stuff that's a little more cringe. And then Yen seems to be moving away from like the isekai and all that kind of stuff, and seems to be going with like the more, what would we say, the more literary light novels, maybe? Well, okay, like Guillotine one, that doesn't really look like that. My theory does not hold when you look at that cover and listen to that description. Yeah, I'm probably just talking out the side of my face with this one, but in any case, it does seem to me though that like, if you talk percentages, I mean, J-Novel seems to have a higher percentage of what the hell in their licenses than Yen. Like Yen seems like if it's going to be slightly higher brow, it seems like it's more likely it's going to get a Yen on pickup. Yeah. Anyway, that's just like kind of what I see. It's like I said, it's not always 100% true. But yeah, just overall, I don't know, like, do any of you watching, like, do you feel sort of the same way? Are you kind of like, oh yeah, like if it's a really big title with like a lot of clout behind it, it's almost guaranteed to be a Yen thing. And if it's an isekai, it'll be a J-Novel Club pickup. Like that kind of seems to be the vibe. In any case, that's it for this, for Yen on. I don't know if we're going to really get anything else announced this weekend. It seems like pretty much most of the other announcements that I've seen have all been manga. So, but we'll see. If there's anything really exciting that comes up, I'll probably pop on and let you know. In any case, thank you so much for checking out this video. And don't forget to check out my J-Novel one. I'll put a link wherever the hell it goes above my head. So you can go check that one out as well and see the whack ton of stuff that they picked up and studying, and including some pretty like ridiculous sounding titles that, I mean, might be stupid enough they're fun. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in one of my next videos. Till then, bye-bye for now.